Hi there, this is Lydia, and today on Typical Books I'm going to talk about the novel True Crime. Recently I'd said that I'm going to read some more true crime coming up this year on Typical Books, so I'll start with a novel called True Crime, which is silly. There's a lot of buzz about this book, you know what I mean. It is all over the Twitter, it is all over Goodreads, I even see it on Facebook. There's a lot of talk about this book. It's a debut book by a really cool person, I guess that's what it is, and that it is blurbed heavily, and it is the darling of a lot of horror writers. And that is what, on one hand, you don't want to sell to your counterparts, all your coworkers, so to speak, in horror press. But when they love something, when we love something, because we're all horror readers too, I find that we really hold it up high so that everyone can get a good look. And this is one of those books. True Crime by Samantha Kolsnick. I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name right, but I keep trying. The cover I wish was a little more like crime stories, true detective, true crime, like a magazine, because it starts out with this young girl, Susie, who is transfixed with true crime magazines. I know I've been there. Susie, her brother Lim, and Mama grew up in a crummy little house on the wrong side of a crummy little town. Her mother is a piece of human dirt. And before long, we find Susie and her brother on the run. And it reminds me a little bit of Natural Born Killers right here. I like it, even though they're a brother sister duo. It's a very cathartic beginning to this story. Now, I find that when I was younger as a teen and I discovered a book like American Psycho, it was great because it was terrifying. It sucks you in. It's that first person narrative from the killer point of view, and there's something like that is really feels wrong and dirty about reading something like that. And it's a lot like watching extreme films or reading any other like banned books or really seeing disturbing pornography, something that really sticks with you, whether you like it or not. And it's a little safer than reading actual true crime or seeing a crime in progress that you don't have to take a shower afterward, although there are scenes in this that are quite disturbing in that way. Things like American Psycho. Not long ago, I had read Zombie by Joyce Carol Oates. That was a recent introduction by my husband to me, and I loved that book because it gave me that same sort of feeling I got as a teen, so hyper disturbed as I was by American Psycho. Reading that, and maybe I was maybe in grade 9 or 10 or something like that. So it was this big stretch of time in between where not many other things have popped up that have felt quite like those two novels. The one standout exception, of course, is People Live Still in Cashtown Corners. That was another book that has just touched me and stuck with me, and it was such a wild ride while reading it. You almost read it white knuckled because it's not that its imagery is so horrible, it's psychologically so horrible. True Crime hits really close to that. It's pretty much a perfect, I don't know, it's a 4.8 out of 5 or something like that. Like everything about it is just really, really, really well done, and I really enjoy the writing. I really enjoy the thinking process of this main character. There are points that remind me a lot of portions of movies by Rob Zombie where we're with Baby and we spend time with Baby after we've gotten to know her. Not so much in the first two films, but Three from Hell. There's a portion where we're kind of with Baby and she's gaining the trust of people around her. And we as the audience know that that will come to no good because we know her quite well at this point. There's portions with this talking with Susie where we know her quite well. And that sort of feeling is making it hard to stay with her, perhaps, is the best way to describe it. And there are some really interesting plot devices used that change our minds somewhat, but we're very scared to change our minds because we don't trust her. And that's something that's accomplished in a very short space of time. I think this book took me about 2 hours to read, so it's not like it is a girthy novel, but it really packs a punch. So there's something to be said for that. Now, true crime really speaks to me because I myself was a big aficionado of true crime. I can't say that something about the fascination with perverse violence that people can bring upon one another specifically, and in this book they highlighted a little bit crimes that men commit against women, that it would change your psyche no matter what sort of circumstance you're brought up in. But from time to time there are these very violent individuals that speak to that sort of thing, helping water the seeds that were within them that were pure evil. And this is what has happened here. So it's a really good sketch of and I feel like I'm already giving too much away. So that said, I do highly recommend True Crime. It is a very fun read. It's a quick read. It is a very fascinating looking book. Now, I only have the ebook, as I mentioned in a previous video. I couldn't seem to get the pre-order of the paperback here in Canada. So someday I probably will pick it up just because it looks pretty cool. I wouldn't mind them doing a reissue someday with a more magazine-y looking cover. And I'm thinking about how much I love my copy of We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix, but there is like a magazine-y Rolling Stone looking cover to it available out there somewhere too. Although I like my hardcover that's all black and red and cool looking, it's neat to see this other reissue. So maybe Grindhouse Press could do something that looks even more magazine-y. I don't know. So if you've been waiting for another killer point of view, first-person narrative, dark psychological journey you don't want to go on, that you're dragged with this person on, do horrible things in a natural born killer sort of way, then take a look at this. True Crime by Samantha Kolesnik. It's fucking fantastic. Now, it is Women in Horror Month. You might notice that right now I've got a lot of female horror authors on the go, and there will be some male authors because I don't always put myself in the envelope during February of reading women only stuff. You will notice that I've retweeted some things on Twitter that mention me for Women in Horror Month, and on Instagram, of course, which is always wonderful. I love seeing people sharing other authors. So that's probably why I've seen so many other women horror authors mentioned right now. It just becomes top of mind. And that's the way I think that it should really work, right? So thank you so much if you've been sharing my work out there. And thank you so much to Bibliophile Hermit on Instagram, who had shared the cover of Praylight Eve. Now, if you do enjoy this sort of first-person birth of a serial killer stuff that you find in true crime, you might be interested in Praylight Eve 2. Has a story called Jack in the Box, which is the same sort of idea. So if there's anything outside of, say, Zombie, American Psycho, there's probably others that I've read that I'm just leaving out and not coming to mind, like People Live Still in Cashtown Corners, that is first-person, point of view, killer point of view, and just utterly depraved. Let me know in the comments below, and have an ooky, spooky day. Today on Typical Books, I'm going to talk about true crime. The book, not the thing.